I'm sharing a locker room with a trans female who may still have a...
Hello again, guys. Welcome back to the channel. So, we've got another Old Man Wisdom video here today. We're watching this based young girl and some other young kids as well take their local school board to task about the policies that are going on in their schools. Now, a lot of things in a lot of schools, a lot of lefties are saying, oh, well, that's not really happening. That's one small isolated incident. Those people are very, very misinformed. This is going on all over the country, even in red states, in red districts, where conservatives and Republicans are the majority. I tell you what's happened. About 5 or 10 years ago, George Soros started putting all kinds of funding into local DAs, that's district attorneys, getting these radical district attorneys put into place in these cities, and now he is seeing that effort is coming to fruition. When I was a kid, when I was in school, if this stuff was going on, the parents would have been down at the school. I'm telling you, there would have been violence. The parents, and it would have been accepted. If the parents did get arrested for it, I guarantee it would have gone to a jury, and the jury would have said those actions were justified because they were protecting their children from teachers and from the administrators. The way it is today, that'll never happen because we've got these corrupt DAs, and they have surrounded themselves with corrupt officials, corrupt staff. They've got the right chiefs of police and officers that will simply do what they're told and arrest these parents if they did something like that. The only way this is going to stop is if people like these people on these school boards, the DAs, the staffs, get removed, and you get people on there that actually care about your kids. These people don't give a damn. Watch this video and see their expressions the entire time when these young girls and young boys mention how they're having to share locker rooms with people of the opposite sex. And as the one girl says, she doesn't feel comfortable seeing a boy's or a man's P word, trying to keep it on the down low, in her locker room. It shouldn't be happening. It's ridiculous. These boys should be arrested. These school board members should be arrested and thrown in jail. But George Soros packed the DA's office. Now he's packed the school boards. He put all kinds of money into that 5-10 years ago. And this was his plan all along. There's nothing we'll be able to do about it because the people that are in charge of stopping this from happening are the ones that are doing it. Anyway, let's start the video.
I'm sharing a locker room with a trans female who may still have a... I do not feel comfortable being exposed to that, and I no longer feel safe. This has nothing to do with any...
Look at the reactions
a bad person
of these women.
It is simply that
they don't care.
I do not feel mature enough to view any man's...
That's what I'm talking about.
By the way, this is from an Officer Tatum video. Been watching this guy for quite some time. I think I started watching him when he had like 200,000 subscribers, and now he's well over 2 million because he knows what he's doing. He knows what people want to see. He knows what people care about. He's a former police officer. He's been in the trenches, as you may call it. He's seen what's going on, and he got fed up with it, and he decided to try and do something about it by bringing awareness of what's going on in the community. Not just this problem, but many, many other problems that are going on.
Dude, let's get into this. Ladies and gentlemen and ladies, I'm glad to see videos like this. I made a video about a young kid that just went ham on the city council, the school board. And I think more children should be going ham on these brain dead professors and teachers and school board members who are just pushing lunacy. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever for these schools to be trying to force kids to be trans and accept all that stuff.
Officer B. Tatum there is so right. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever what they're doing. I believe one of the kids even mentions later in the video that they're obviously trying to break down our society. And you know what? This is what Barack Obama and his buddies said years ago when he was in office. When Barack Obama said in a campaign speech before he was elected president, Barack Obama said, we are 5 days away from fundamentally transforming the United States of America. What does that mean? What are the fundamentals of America? Freedom? Liberty? What are other ones? Freedom of the press, freedom of speech, the Second Amendment, keep and bear arms. Those are all fundamentals. The right to a fair trial. Those are all the fundamentals of America. Why would you want to transform those fundamentals? Because they're trying to break down the society so they can put themselves in place as dictators / oligarchs. All right, let's get back to the video.
But anyway, I'm glad to see these young people at the school stepping up and speaking out. Although these idiots down there ain't gonna listen to nothing they have to say, this is building character and boldness and courage amongst these young people. And I'm hoping that their parents either allow them to write their own words or they help them foster the documents through helping them express their own words and being able to put it on paper. But this is inspiring to me that young kids are speaking out because they do have a voice too. They always showing the videos of the little trans kids.
Once again, B. Tatum was right about that. These kids are inspiring. I don't think there's any way I would have gotten up there and done this when I was in high school. I don't know, maybe I would have, but probably not. But yeah, this is just, I mean, we didn't have issues like this when I was in high school. The worst thing we had like this was when they wanted to introduce sex education to high school students. And a lot of people said at that time that this is like a gateway drug. This is like a foot in the door. They're going to get their foot in the door with this, and it's going to lead to more and more and more and more. And here we are today where our kids are being forced, not told, they're being forced. Our young girls are being forced to share a locker room and undress in front of a biological boy. That's where it started. This is where it is now. We need to stop it now.
What about the other kids? Oh, they need to feel safe. Well, the other kids need to feel safe too.
Yeah.
Why can't both of them feel safe?
Everybody needs to feel safe.
Listen to these kids and be inspired. Roll the clip.
No longer feel safe within the four walls at Festa, and I feel that my freedom has been taken away from me. I have been waiting since second grade for swimming during school at Festa, only now to find out I am sharing a locker room with a trans female who may still have... Yeah,
let me correct her right there. She's being nice, but we need to tell the truth. She's not sharing a locker room with a trans female. It might be a trans person, but is not a trans female. It's a trans person who thinks they're a female or who is saying they're a female, but she's sharing a locker room with a boy, with a biological boy. There is no other way to say it accurately. It is not a trans female.
I do not feel comfortable being exposed to that, and I no longer feel safe. This has nothing to do with any being a bad person. It is simply that I do not feel mature enough to view any man's penis, whether they identify as a female or
And she shouldn't have to.
A penis is a penis.
Private spaces.
Can you believe in 2024 we have young people begging, pleading with adults not to expose them to male genitalia?
You said it there, B. I tell you what, man, you have young girls begging the school board of the school that they go to not be exposed to a boy's genitalia, to a male genitalia. It is utterly incomprehensible. If you had said this to any normal person 30 years ago, that this was going to happen, they would have said you were crazy. This would never happen. But a few people did say it, as I said before. 35, 40 years ago, when I was in high school, when they introduced sex education, some people did speak up and say, yeah, they're going to just use this to get their foot in the door, and they're just going to go a little bit at a time, increments. Even if it's like a frog in a well who jumps up 3 feet, slides back 2 feet every day. The next day he jumps up another 3 feet, he slides back down another 2 feet. Eventually he gets out of the well. Eventually he gets what he's trying to get. And that's what these people have been doing for 40 years. They've been doing it for a lot longer than that, actually. If you know history, they've been doing things like this. This particular goal wasn't necessarily what they had in mind, but they will adjust their tactics to whatever they think is going to work. And their ultimate goal is to break down society and put themselves in place with ultimate power.
Like, I don't know what to think. As a man, I couldn't sit on a panel listening to a kid express themselves that way, and I'm just totally like, yeah, let's go with the status quo. I mean, it's like, yeah, you want to transition. That's a
don't know what that was.
That you want to make as a kid. You cannot thrust yourself in and make all the other kids feel uncomfortable. You can do this, but why do you need to play sports? You're gonna have to sit this out.
Yeah, I want to say he makes a pretty good point here. You're going to have to sit it out. If you don't fall into the two categories that we have here, boys sports and girls sports, you were born a boy, you have the P word in your pants, and you don't want to play sports with the other people that have the P word in their pants, you don't get to play sports with the ones that have the V word in their pants. Okay? Just because you want to. Just because you know you're going to dominate those sports.
And you should be okay with sitting out if you really cared about young women. No, it's a trend, y'all. It's a trend.
Sorry, that's the other point that I was getting ready to make, but I had an old manism there. Playing high school sports, playing college sports, playing even sports before high school. This is all, you don't have the right to do those things. You can't say, oh, no, you must let me play. I have the right. No, you don't. There's no right in the Constitution that says you have to play those sports, and they have to let you play those sports. That's absolutely ridiculous. The left continues to come up with all these rights that were never intended in our founding documents and actually don't exist. Women's rights, gay rights, black rights, trans rights. There's no such thing. A right is not a right unless we all have it. Unless everyone has that right, then it's not a right. It's a privilege. And privileges can be denied. Just like a driver's license, just like going to a certain business, lots of different things. Those are privileges. They're not rights. You don't have the right for a boy to play in girls' sports.
Get convinced and motivated to do these certain things, and they benefit. Of course the trans is playing the sport. You never see it vice versa. You never see a trans man get into the sport. No, you never hear about it. You never see them win anything. They never will. There's a benefit to being a boy transition to a girl in sports.
So one of the most important things in a growing boy or girl's life. Private spaces we as children go to recognize the change within us and our body. Everyone should feel safe, but I and my fellow students are being forced to sign petitions to allow these things to follow through. It comes close. You are not teaching me to be okay with who you are. You are pushing me to show my vulnerable parts.
This goes back to something I was just saying a minute ago. Remember 5 years ago, maybe less, maybe a little more, when they were all up about bullying. You can't have bullying in the schools. It's absolutely unacceptable. Now, they're the ones perpetrating the bullying because they will adjust their tactics. They will do anything that they think they can get away with to get power for themselves. That's what this is all about. Look at the faces on these school board members. Look at the faces of these school board members. Not paying attention. Yeah, they might be listening, but they don't really care what the person is saying. They don't care at all. By the way, look at that right there. This comes originally from Libs of TikTok. She has been doing great work exposing this stuff. You should follow her on Twitter at the very least. And it goes without saying, check out Officer Tatum on YouTube.
Safety of every student. Leaders who are willing to listen, recess, and if necessary, reverse decisions that do not serve the best interests of those who have pledged to protect.
Once again, B. Tatum, one kid. Maybe some schools have 2 or 3 out of 400 or 500 kids in the school have 2 or 3, and we are catering to the 2 or 3 instead of the 497 other children in the school. We are jumping over backwards to make those 3 kids or 1 kid feel comfortable, supposedly. That's why. And making the other 497, putting them in jeopardy. We need to look at what this is going to do to our society 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 years from now if we let this continue.
Fear among a significant portion of our student population, particularly girls who now feel their safety and privacy are compromised. The idea that facilities should be accessed based on self-identification rather than biological sex is not just troubling, it's a blatant disregard for the well-being of students. To allow individuals into bathrooms and locker rooms that do not align with their biological sex is beyond discomforting. It is frankly lunacy and unacceptable.
It's criminal. That's what it is. It's criminal. And if you had fair and impartial district attorneys in these areas, they would be arresting these people for allowing it to happen. they would send the police into the schools and stop it from happening at the very least. But as I said before, this has been the plan all along. George Soros and a bunch of other people have been planning this. This is why 5-10 years ago, he started funding all of these radical DAs campaigns in all these different cities, even in conservative areas, to get them into office so that they would allow this to continue happening. This and many other things. It's the reason why crime is so out of control now. And one more thing about the crime rate. You know, Democrats try to tell us, oh, the crime rate isn't that bad. We look at the stats. Yeah, except look at how they're gathering the statistics now. Because they're ignoring so many crimes, on paper, it doesn't look anywhere near as bad as it actually is. If you don't arrest the criminals, you never have a record of that crime, and you can say, oh, the crime rate isn't that bad. See, right here on paper, there were only 27 armed robberies, but there was actually 127, except they didn't bother to arrest the other 100 people.
This isn't about denying rights or excluding anyone. It's about ensuring that every student's right to privacy and safety is upheld. What's currently happening is that our trusted board is in alignment with the degradation of the moral fabric of our community.
These young people to step up and say what they said in the face of this vote. It's inspiring. And it's also sad. Because these grown people should know better than what they're doing.
Tell it, B. Tatum.
Have to tell you if they don't want to be exposed, they'll just tell you.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have to plead with you that they are uncomfortable with someone who's just transitioning yesterday.
This is literally getting our young children to be comfortable with these things so they continue to go forward. And it's going to get worse and worse and worse. We've already got, I watched a video the other day where a woman was saying, pedophilia is not a crime, it's a sexual orientation. And we need to own up to that and learn to live with that. It's absolutely disgusting. A lot of them don't actually believe it, but they know it will help break down the society and put themselves in charge.
I know I'm talking to the choir. Do you guys know how silly this would have been when we were in school?
What did I say a minute ago? Yeah. Parents would have been, there would have been violence in the schools perpetrated by parents against the teachers and administrators. If this had happened when I was in school. And I guarantee you my father would have been one of the ones doing it. So thanks for watching the video, guys. Hope you drop a like, subscribe to the channel. We'll see you next time.